every customer feels so frustrated when he's, oh, I'm a customer from this company for 1 year, and then I have to pay the double amount as I had. And then new customers, they get reductions. I think it should be the other way around. Once you have a customer, be happy, treat him with respect. That's what I said. That's the customers don't have the feeling the company cares about them, and then they say bye-bye. And yeah, customer retention is very important. I think it's one of the most important things. And that also means that you have to have customer satisfaction and strive for customer happiness throughout the whole cycle. That means that I have to say that I'm old. It all started in '96, and I became I made websites, so I started a little company in the little web business. I didn't have enough clients, and I was a big nerd in those days, still am. So I started a website with news about computers and IT and favorite downloads and stuff like that. And one of the things I did, I think it was Netscape 2.0, they allowed frames, and I made something, and you had to open a curtain to see my website. It was a brilliant idea. There were forums all over the world talking about it, and I think I even won a design prize in a little magazine in Belgium. I was so proud, but nothing happened. No subscribers, nothing. And then it was in the days before Google, so I installed a counter, one of those little old counters, and I installed it on the frame, the curtain thing, and on the real homepage. And then I noticed that about 80% of all people that came to the website didn't go beyond the splash screen. When I removed the splash screen, bam! My website skyrocketed. So that was probably the first time that I realized don't do stupid things on your website and make it accessible for everyone. I didn't know the word usability, didn't know anything about it, but that's how I stumbled upon it. And then in 2001 I started AJ Consult, and 20 years later we're still doing the same thing. I really believe it's the most important thing to do as a company. And it's also one of the things that almost no companies seem to care about, or they pretend to care about it. There are two nice studies, I think. One is from the Rockefeller Group, and they found out that the main reason, and it's about 68% of all people, they stop being a customer or they don't become a customer because they have the feeling that the company doesn't care about them. So that's way more important than customer service, than the quality of your product and your competitors having a better price. So that's one problem. People have the feeling that the companies don't care about them. And then there's a second study done by Baines and Company, and they surveyed a lot of companies, and wow, 80% of all companies say we are customer centric. And then they surveyed the clients of those companies, and only 8% of the clients say, yeah, those companies are customer centric. So there's a big gap between what companies think or pretend that they do and what customer centricity is and what clients think. So in our job, or my goal in life, is to close that gap and to make sure that there is not a disconnection but a connection between the customer and a company. And if companies lose the connection with their clients, they will go bankrupt one day or another.
Or die into oblivion.
Die into oblivion, yeah, and that's what we see throughout history. Big brands, if you see the rise and fall of companies the last 120 years, it always has to do with losing that connection with the customers. And every company, of course, starts or becomes big because they have a good idea. So every company in the beginning is rather customer centric, and then at a certain moment in time, most companies forget about the customer and only care about running their business. They run the business, yeah, we're making money, and then suddenly there's a competitor and is eating their market share. Like we just talked about Uber. And a lot of people think like Uber became big because of the sharing economy and Uber became big because of the digital disruption. I think those are bullshit stories. The main reason why Uber became big is that they understood the frustrations that clients of classical taxi companies had, like In every city it's different. How do I get hold of a taxi? How can I call a taxi? When will the taxi arrive? Will I recognize the driver? Can I pay with a credit card or not? How much is it going to cost? Because in Bucharest, if you take a taxi at certain places, you have no idea how much it's gonna cost. And Uber solved all these frustrations, all those barriers that people had with the classical taxi companies, and that's why Uber became so big. The sharing economy helped. And that's the most beautiful reaction all over Europe. I don't know here, but in Belgium, the classical taxi companies went to court, like, oh, Uber cannot be allowed.
Same story.
So they blamed the other one, and they didn't understand, and I think most still don't understand. It's their fault. It's because the taxi companies didn't see the frustrations of their customers anymore. And that's, if you see the rise and fall of all companies, they turn from a customer-centric company to a business-driven company, and they don't see the frustrations and the goals of their customers. And then use the right technology, because technology and innovation is incredibly important. But what we see is that a lot of companies, and especially in marketing, they see a tool, they want to buy the tool. Oh, it's personalization, we have to do personalization. Oh, we have voice search, we have to do voice search. And they all jump on the bandwagon for the new technology. And that's wrong. Because then you're a fool with a tool, and a fool with a tool is a fool. You have to understand what are the customer needs, what is the biggest problem of our company, and then what kind of technology can help us to make the lives of our customers better. A lot of companies, they use technology to make their life as a company or as a marketing team or as a sales team better. Nah! Your job is to make the lives of your customers better, to take away their frustrations and to fulfill their needs. So yes, innovation and technology is extremely important, but you should always start from the customer. And I know everybody's always talking about Amazon, but one of the things that Jeff Bezos says is like, one of the questions that people ask me the most is, what is going to change in the next 10 years? And he's like, I have no idea, I don't have a crystal ball. And he says like, one question that nobody asks me is, what is not going to change in the next 10 years? And that's the most important question, because if you know what is not going to change, you can build a business strategy. And in the case of Amazon, it's about the customer. The customer of Amazon is never going to say, Jeff, I like Amazon, but all products should be more expensive. Nobody's going to say, I like the delivery, but it shouldn't be tomorrow. Just deliver it whenever you want, Jeff. It can be in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Nobody will ever say that. So, and that's also what I see. And what kind of makes me happy but also sad is that in the 20 years I'm doing this, a lot of the technologies have changed, but what customers want from a company, what customers expect from a company, what makes them happy to be a client, that has not changed in 20 years. And it will not change in the next 20 years. People don't understand how important that customer centricity is. And another thing that frustrates me at conferences like this is that I talk a lot about principles and methods, and then people are like, and then I give them an example of how you can apply it, and everybody takes out their phone. So what I know is that they will copying that outing of the idea. But that's not the good thing, because your website is not the other website. Your product is not what the other company is selling. So it's more important to understand the principle, the psychology principles, the guidelines, the way we do research, than the perfect outing of it. It's just an example, and that's a lot of people, they love the tactics, and tactics are important, but you have to really try to understand what makes you different. Because if you're doing the same thing as your neighbor, if you're just copying the most popular websites in Romania or in your business, why should I buy with you? You're just a copy, and a copy is never as good as the original. You should find your own tone of voice, your own
DNA.
Yeah, DNA. The DNA is so important, and the smaller you are as a company, the more important that becomes. Your own tone of voice. Be yourself. As a human being, you don't want to when you're young, most people want to copy other things. Then you have posters of film stars and then movie stars and rock bands, and you want, I want to be like that.
Yeah.
I don't have posters in my bedroom anymore of rock bands. I want to be me. And I think as a company that's the same. You should be you and not a copy of someone else. Gary found a niche. I don't like him, but he's doing a good job, and some people like him. A lot of people like him. More people like him than me.
Yeah.
And Neil Patel has found his niche. He's doing another thing that I'm not in favor for, but that's good.
Yeah.
And that's good. It's very good. And that's also what marketers should understand. People like Gary and people dislike Gary. People like Neil and there are people that dislike Neil. That means that they have their own feelings and there's a voice.
Yeah.
Same with me. I have people who hate me for what I do, and I have people that love me. That's a good thing. You have to find your tone of voice, your niche. Don't copy it. And it's a problem. It's like,
makes sense.
Yeah. Nothing. And that's really one of those things that I don't understand. I didn't study economics or whatever, but all those companies spending money in attracting new customers and not caring about existing ones. Like, I don't know here in Romania, but it must be the same in the telecom industry. Like subscriptions.
Yeah.
In Belgium, people are almost programmed to buy a new subscription every year from a different provider because the new provider gives you so many free minutes.
And they're
investing and switching. And every customer feels so frustrated when I'm a customer from this company for 1 year, and then I have to pay the double amount as I had. And then new customers, they get reductions.
Yeah.
I think it should be the other way around. Once you have a customer, be happy, treat him with respect. That's what I said. That's the customers don't have the feeling the company cares about them, and then they say bye-bye. And customer retention is very important. I think it's one of the most important things. And that also means that you have to have customer satisfaction and strive for customer happiness throughout the whole cycle.
Yeah.
But I see that a lot of businesses still do is like, even when they understand customer centricity, usability, conversion optimization, they focus on the website.
Yeah.
Somebody's coming in, somebody buys, and then it's done. They have the money and they think like, fuck you, little client. And it's like, no, then it just starts. You have a beautiful website, and then you get a terrible mail like, we received your order, shipment is now. And everything is gone. The relation you had with the client is boring. Every step from the first ad they see until even the little note that is in the package, like if there's a problem you can send it back to us, that should have the same tone of voice, the same feeling, and that's what it's all about. So I don't understand. I never understood marketers, what they were thinking about those things. It's a difficult thing. I think that's one of the hurdles I have with most companies. It's like they hire us, we do a great job, but half of the companies, they don't do anything with it, and that's when we stumble upon corporate cultures, company cultures, mentalities, and I think it has to do how people are raised in it. I call it the old style of companies, but some new companies have it too. It's like, it's horrible to say, but in most companies, you're only rewarded when you do good things. Nobody comes to you and say like, fuck, you did an experiment on our website and we lost $2 million last week. Nobody's gonna, and everybody's like, wow. And that's, the fear of experimentation in companies is so big. So everybody has learned to say yes, yes, yes to their bosses, and especially the middle management. For me, the problem with most companies is the middle management. They're trained in just taking no risks and doing like, yeah. And once again, I don't know the exact word, but there's a quote from Jeff Bezos. It's like, you have to do experiments and you have to embrace failure. And I think that's an important thing, and it's like, experiments make everything better, not only the website, but understanding your customers. And the moment you don't evolve as a company and you don't experiment and you don't try to understand the user, I think you're lost. Like Booking.com, they're doing experiments every minute. Amazon with their what they call the pizza team, so a team can never be bigger than the amount of people that can eat 2 pizzas or something. So it means like on average a team is like 8 persons, and those 8 people they can almost work independently, and that's so important. It's like no 70 management levels up and down. It's like this is your responsibility, and everybody in the that's also an important one. Everybody in the company should have the same final goal. Even now in the marketing department, you often see like the goal of the SEO people is to rank on page 1. The goal of the PPC people is to drive traffic to the website. And then you have the UX people and the conversion people, it's to turn that visitor into a customer. And then you have the after sales people, it's to make sure that it's a happy customer. No! The final goal for everybody in a company is happy returning customers.
Yeah.
That's it. Done.
That's the main KPI.
Fuck off. Every management book is 1 page from now on. What you should do in a company, make your customers happy. Done. Bye. Read the book. Understand it? Don't copy others, find your own voice, really try to understand your customer, and have fun in life. Have fun in life is for me a very important one. It's like, yeah, don't go with your ego. I think that's the biggest problem that it's typical human. I think I still have a huge ego, but like 10 years ago I thought I was on top of everything, and then I learned things that was like, oh fuck, I know nothing. So it's like, don't trust your gut feeling, know what you're doing, and if you're running a business, the main goal should not be running the business or making more money. The main goal should be the customer thing, and then the rest will follow.
Yeah.
I always see that image of Jeff Bezos in the interview from '96 when they're sitting behind a desk, and the desk is like an old door on 2 things, and the interviewer is really like, what are you doing? He said, yeah, but if I would have bought a fancy table, I had less money to invest in customer satisfaction. That's it. I see so many startups, and the first thing they do is buy the most expensive smartphone and the biggest laptop and a car. No. Then you're in the business for yourself and not for your customers.
Yeah.
So I think that's for starting businesses the most important thing. If you don't care about customers, don't start a business. Some of the speakers asked it the speaker before me asked it, who of you, there's about 800 people in the room, who of you really cares about their customers? Who of you really love customers? There were 8 people, that's 1%. All the rest, I don't know what you should do with them, but stop doing business. If you don't care about your people, your customers, don't do business. That's the wrong thing.
Yeah, you're in the wrong place.
Yeah, why are you doing this? You're doing this, you hope sometime that you, but you're not in the business for the money at the end maybe, but you're in the business to help people to make their websites better, their businesses better, to understand their customers better, and that should give you a good feeling if you make your customers happy, and then a reward for you. I was saying, I think I half stole it from Brian Eisenberg, I don't know, but if you give your customers what they want, what they expect, they will give you what you want. And in ordinary words, it's like money, but it's about customership, customer loyalty, customer happiness. Predicting the future is the most dangerous thing to do. Nobody can do it. Crystal balls, they don't exist. What I see with the young people working in my company is indeed they have a different take on life. So they like their work, but work is I'm trying to think about a story that I can tell. In our own company, I used to be that typical manager with micromanagement things. It was very difficult for me, after 10 years doing my business on my own with else, to leave our people doing their thing. And they were unhappy. We had a lot of people leaving the company, so that was not employee happiness at all. And then last year, 2 years ago, because I'm speaking everywhere, else was speaking everywhere, we had to let the team go, just like do it. We never had so much profit as a company, we never had, the customer satisfaction stayed the same, it didn't drop, it didn't get higher because it was already pretty high, but employee satisfaction is like way up. And that's it, when you leave, it's like customer retention, employee retention, when you make people happy, and then you see that if you do a good thing, your employees, they care about customers. So I hope that's changing with younger generations. They genuinely, I have the feeling that the people working for us, that they care about what we do as a company, and that they care about the customers. So I hope there's hope. But when I see the results of the elections in Belgium, it's fucked up. I hope that's the old people.
Maybe
like
that's
in
just
Brexit.
a radical redesign
Yeah. That's
and an
another
experiment
story.
that humanity is doing.
Yeah.
And thanks a lot. Is there anything else that I haven't been inspired enough to ask you?
I think it's okay.
Yeah, great.
Be customer centric. The start, the beginning, and the middle of everything, and the end.